Hey everyone, welcome back to our virtual lessons here. We're glad you guys are able to join us as we continue through the Gospel Project and going through the entirety of the Bible in the next 3 years. And so we are about halfway through our journey here, and today we're going to look at a story of a woman named Esther. Maybe you've heard about her before. Reminder that we are at the point in history that Babylon has been taken over by this mega power named Persia. That the Persian Empire was this massive empire that maybe you've heard of guys like King Xerxes and the Battle of the 300 and stuff like that. That Persian Empire that we're talking about today. And so last week we talked about how the Persian Empire actually let God's people go back to Jerusalem, to Judah, and rebuild the temple, that they were able to establish their home again. But today we hear this story of that there was one woman in Jerusalem named Esther that was just, to put it bluntly, she was smoking hot. That she was extremely good looking. And how it worked back then is if a king saw an extremely attractive girl, he could just say, "She's mine." And there was really no questions asked about it. That the king just had that kind of authority that he could say, "You're no longer living here, you're living with me." And so Esther ends up living in the palace with this king. And she, not just because she was so gorgeous, but because of her personality, because of how she interacted with the king, she became the favorite to the point that the king actually made her queen. And he would tell her, "Whatever you ask, my whole kingdom is yours." But being a very humble person, she was okay. She didn't ask for much wealth. She didn't ask for any powers or anything like that. She was just happy that she was in that situation. But it turned out that there was a guy named Haman, one of the king's officials, that were trying to destroy God's people again. And so he had this plot to literally try to eradicate the Jews, to exterminate them, to wipe them off the map. And so Esther's uncle, Mordecai, comes to her and is like, "You have to do something. God has put you in this role for this season for a reason. You need to speak to the king." Now, this was a very intimidating thing. One, he is the king of this superpower nation, that he could do anything at any time for any reason, and no one would even question it. That was scary. But Esther prayed. Esther came to God and was like, "God, give me the courage." And finally she does, and she goes to the king and tells the king about how this man named Haman was trying to kill not only her people, but her uncle, who at a previous point in the book of Esther actually saves the king from an assassination attempt. So the king says, "No, these people aren't going to die. Haman, you're the one that's going to die." Because Esther had this bravery to do the right thing, God's people were saved. Guys, girls, there's going to be times in your life that you're going to know something isn't right. You're going to know that you have to speak up, and it can be scary. You can go through all the what ifs. You can think about, well, what will this person do? Well, what if they stop bullying that person, but then they start bullying me? What if I say something worse happens? And it can be so fearful. It can be so crippling. But if God is putting that in your heart to say something, to speak up against an injustice, you should speak up. You should do what is right. So that's my challenge to you guys this week. Don't just be silent. Find ways to speak up. We are so glad that you guys have been joining us for this. We are super excited as we are only a few weeks away from Easter. We're really excited to celebrate that with you guys. Reminder, we do now have 2 teen services on Sundays. So if your family is comfortable coming in person, we would love to have you there at either 9 or 10:45, both of which you have to sign up beforehand at grotonbiblechapel.org. So we would love to have you guys join us, but if your family is still hunkered down, that is awesome. Stay safe and keep tuning in because we want you guys to stay connected. Have a great one, and we hope to see you guys soon.